Working in the corner, peeking over shoulders, waiting for my time to come. Working in the corner, one day to the other, but I want my piece of the bun. Working in the corner, peeking over shoulders, waiting for my time.
Probably it's also dependent on
a small comment,
different
first
grain
in
size.
Russian, then in English. Okay? Ну, в общем, в русской классификации на самом деле, конечно, отчетливо таких почв, в общем, нету, да. Теперь второе. The name given to the soil, I think, was mainly based on the concept of ecology of soils, of conditions of soil formation, which is very typical of Russia, because we have certainly humid climate, we have acid rocks, not very rich in weatherable minerals, and more or less coarse texture, like loam, sandy loam, something like that, and potentially, and northern taiga vegetation, oligotrophic and so on. So potentially we should have here elevation of humus and iron compounds, potentially, and probably glaciation as well if it's wet conditions. It's okay. And according to this concept, the right place for these soils is in the group of alpha humus soils, alpha humus alluvial soils, yes? And so, because of the absence of clear bleached horizon, these are podbours, as it is reflected in the guidebook. But I think that we should take into account cryogenic conditions. Here, I'm sure that in the early spring, during the snow melt season, yeah, the soil remains frozen. It deeply freezes, that's for sure. And so when this snow, during the snow melt season, there's no way for the water to percolate into the soil, and therefore elevation is very weakly pronounced. You have some stagnant features below because of this gradual migration of water without pronounced elevation features. And for me, it's another name in Russian classification. It's brown forest soils, yes, but rock humus and with clay features or stagnant features. We do not differentiate them in Russia. And what? Maybe with traces of podolization, but that's not so important. In some minor locations, if you carefully look to the wall. So I think it's important in the genesis of the soil that it remains frozen in the early summer, late spring period during the snow melt season. And just because of this, we have this circulation of water and infiltration and migration of substances with the elevation. I agree totally with German and American interpretation. Yes.
The only thing maybe I would add for the structure is a lamellic structure, little lenticular structure from post-cryogenic structure.
Cryogenic?
From just the little lamellae structure of there that. And we would actually.
It's typical of freezing soils. Deeply freezing. Maybe there's permafrost 10 meters. I don't know. We don't know exactly.
Than 2 meters, so we're not a gelosol. Very weakly expressed soil forming processes that I'm mostly interpreting to be related to seasonal frost perching the water table early in the summer, and so we do have some oxidation reduction features, but insufficient to make a PG horizon. Okay. And so then we're in an acceptosol, but we're not in in aquic conditions, and so then we're into better drained conditions. And yes, it has a seasonal water table with the frost, but not sufficient to make it an aquept. So then it becomes decision on whether we're base saturation and acidic or non-acidic.
Acid.
And so we're in very acidic conditions, which would put us into a distro cryep. And then we do have some evidence of oxidation reduction that possibly could put you in this eric class. We wouldn't want to put it in aquic, but maybe an eric, indicating some temporal oxidation. So possibly kind of an eric distro cryep, but I wouldn't even put it in that. I just put it into a weathered, yeah, a cryoquep, yeah, district cryoquep. Yeah.
So it's still a cry features in there. Does that mean
Cold temperature.
Yeah, so it's just temperature.
Yeah, so it's temperature related. Yeah, cold temperature related.
Okay.
Dear colleagues, excuse me.
But it's such a cumbersome classification system that many people just want to
Water are
throw it out. So.
No, I think it's important to have that, to understand the processes of it better.
Yeah.
and who wants to drink, you can take.
So what do you think about the slight oxidation?
Hold me hard, I've been let loose. Sift me clear of all I do. If by a third degree you feel a guilt for me, then I've been a villain all my life. And if by a melody you stay and sway with me,